out there, most people will start a business and not without a business plan or without really going out and seeking help. It is just we're excited about what we're trying to start. We feel like we know what we're doing. We jump right out there. Sometimes people will experience some immediate success, but eventually you will run into that wall where you feel like you do on Christmas morning when you put the toy together and you look down and there are three screws left on the carpet. And you say, this toy looks fine. It may run okay for a while, but we know there are three screws missing someplace. So eventually it's going to break. And that's when you go start reading the instructions to figure out what you did wrong. So I would say for anybody starting a business, the first thing to do is look around your community and see where there is help. And in most communities in this country, but we are especially fortunate in the Triangle area, there is more free help than anybody has time to take advantage of. But go get some help. And no matter what the articles in Entrepreneur Magazine and Forbes Magazine tell you, they don't have enough lines of print to give you that person's full story. It looks like they're the rugged individual that had this great idea, jumped out there and became an overnight millionaire and success. If you really got the rest of the story, you'll find out that they asked for help and they got some help from somebody. I would say that one of the first things that our students or anyone else who's starting a business needs to do is to come to the Small Business Center or come to the startup.waketech.edu website. Look under the resources tab. You can download a business planning template. It'll show you the basic steps that you need to follow, and then get some help. Everything that all the counseling and all of the webinars from the Small Business Center are free. And there are lots of other resources around the Triangle that are free. Don't forget your public library. Don't forget the Wake Tech Library as far as resources is concerned. But you definitely want to make sure that you've looked at what it costs to start the business and what it's going to cost to run the business. And if you're thinking about a business, unless you have a rich uncle someplace or you're already independently wealthy, don't quit your job until you know how you're going to replace that income. Because it's almost impossible to be really successful with your business if you're in survival mode and you're distracted by how am I going to pay the rent? How am I going to buy groceries? You hear the stories of people who defy that, but that's like 1,000th of 1%.
Wow. Okay.
So I could keep going on and on and on. And if you're married, don't jump out and start a business without consulting your spouse. It's going to affect both of you. Maybe you won't be able to pick the kids up from school anymore. Maybe on Saturdays when you were doing family things, you're going to be, knee deep doing your business. You won't be able to participate. So if you are married, you have a family, starting that business, even though it may be yours, you're on the front line, it really becomes a family affair. So shall I go on, Dr. Hawkins?
That's good right there. If you could put those the Small Business Center information and that website that you talked about, Wake Tech Startup, in the chat box, that would be great. Okay, good. All right. So Abby, Career Services says that they often have students who come and they're curious as to the steps in obtaining a real estate license. So can you talk a little bit about the steps needed or the process to earn the license?
Absolutely. And I will keep this brief. So if you want to go into real estate, you have to earn your license. It's similar to getting a certification, if you kind of think about it that way. You first need to take your pre-licensing course, and that's typically between 75 to 90 hours. I'm willing to put in a link in the chat later on. Once you complete your pre-licensing hours, you then need to pass the real estate exam. And to earn your license, there are two components. There's the North Carolina specific laws and regulations, and then there is the whole, U.S. rules, laws part. So two different state specific and then the national portion. Once you pass your both components of the exam, once you pass your entire exam, you then get to, it's called hang your license, but it really just means affiliate with a brokerage. You will then go interview with different brokers in charge I know Damien has plenty of experience in this area. And so once you're able to hang your license, every firm has different monthly fees and quarterly fees that you pay. And so these fees will help you have access to the MLS, which is basically the multiple listing service that helps you really find properties for your clients or put the property on sale. So that is the quick SparkNotes version of how you get your license. I would like to offer a word of encouragement, though. It is a very rough exam. North Carolina is tough, and many people do not pass their first time. Many people do not pass their second time. It took me 4 times to pass my exam in the entirety. The second time was the most difficult. I was in the middle of applying to UNC, studying for my exam, and there is just a whole bunch happening in class. And so, life happens, but don't let the failures discourage you. You guys got this. If you're interested, I'd love to talk with you more individually. I don't mind dropping my email below, but those are the main steps you need to attain your license in North Carolina.
Wow, that's great. I hope it didn't scare anybody. Okay. It sounds like the PMP exam there. All right. So for the sake of time, what I'm going to do now is open up we'll now open the floor for Q&A. So if you would please unmute your mic and feel free to ask a question to any of the panelists. If you have a question for a specific panelist, please address him or her directly when asking your questions. I think we covered everything in the chat box. So if there is anything that anyone has, they want to ask the panelists, now's the time.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to ask, 'cause I came in a little bit late at 1, so I missed quite a bit of this, but I wanted to ask a brief question, and I wasn't sure how long of an answer it would require. But so with an associate's degree in general business from Wake Tech, will that land me a job that is better than a high school degree?
So that gives you a leg up on others than high schoolers. So I would say yes, with that associate's degree, you can find an entry level job. You can actually, don't forget that there are startup companies that are looking for people looking to hire people who have some general business administration experience. And so we talked earlier about how coming out of the community college gives you that practical experience versus just the theoretical. So yes, I would say that you are in a better position of probably getting a job than those coming right out of high school.
Okay.
Something to that?
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to create the right set of expectations here, because really no matter what degree or credential you have, none of that lands you a job.
Right.
It is how you present your resume. Wake Tech has resume assistance services in our career and employment services department. It's how you perform in your interview and how comfortable you are. And so you can get some practice in that. When you start looking for that job, it's kind of like if you were auditioning for a role in a play. If you've never auditioned before, you may be the best singer or dancer out there, but if you're too nervous during your audition and you don't audition well, you may not get the part even though you're the best person. And so consider each job interview. First of all, you got to get the interview. So you need a kick butt. I'm sorry, Dr. Hawkins, can I say that?
It's already said now. Go ahead.
You need a kick butt resume. That the purpose of the resume is to make people want to talk to you to get more information.
Okay.
That's the only purpose of the resume. Then after you get that in front of them, you want to put your best foot forward. You want to know up one side and down the next what they're looking for in that job. You need to study the job. You need to know something about the company. Nothing will lose you an opportunity faster than going in there asking them to tell you about their company. Okay? Okay? And so do well in your interview. If you don't get it, take what you learned. You're getting practice. You'll be better in the next one. It's a numbers game. The more times you interview, the better chance you have of getting that job. And look good. Mm-hmm. If you are interviewing for a very conservative company, look like you belong in that company. So when I have to tell the story, then Dr. Hawkins is going to kick me out and never invite me to anything else. But I started my career at IBM. And as a college student, I had bangles up to my elbows. I had long purple nails. I had twice as much hair as you see right now. But when I went to my interview at IBM, I found myself a pair of high heel wingtips, a black and white, a blue and white striped suit. I curled this hair up to a tight little thing on top of my head. I got rid of the makeup. I got rid of the nail polish and the bangles. And I looked that same way through every interview. And I think they hired me because they knew if they didn't hire me, I'd never be able to afford another suit. I don't know, because I wore the same suit anyway. But after I got the job, a month later, I met the executive who had come in and offered me the job, and he introduced himself to me because he didn't recognize me, but because I'd gone back to the nails and the bangles and the hair. But you have to look like you belong in that company. So put forth the effort to do that.
Excellent advice, and a shout out. So thank you for shouting out for to the career services group. They're online. They're in the chat box right now, saying thank you, Katie. So if you want to career services, we could just let people know how to get in touch with you to actually get maybe an appointment. That would be great. Are there any other questions?
Yes, this is Jenny Liang. First of all, thanks all for your time and the information. We learned a lot, especially me. And as a small business owner, I'm very interested in the international business industry. And my goal, this is the second semester with WEGTech, and I just completed my GED last year. So anyhow, and my goal for the academy is transferring to the 4-year degree, undergraduate degree in the international business administration. So my question is to Professor John. I would like to ask you, which university has better advantage on digital marketing major? So between the NCSU and the UNC Chapel Hill, because I'm targeting these two universities. Thank you.
Oh man, that's a tough question. I don't know I'm qualified to answer that question because I'm not as familiar with either, but I would imagine that both are probably at pretty good parity because literally that's the skills that every company is looking for today. So the great thing about both of those universities, just like Wake Tech, is they're every day interacting with the businesses because those become their customers in a lot of ways. The students are going to go there. I did teach digital at NC State, so I might be a little partial to digital marketing at State, and they have some specific programs that I was involved in around the textile industry, which is an industry that they serve. So, one of the things you may want to think about, depending on which direction you want to go, what types of industries and things are those universities involved with and supporting already? That's a big question. And I think the previous person that asked a question too, the thing that I will say on both of those universities as well as Wake Tech, a lot of the benefit becomes from the relationships you build there. Your professors and instructors have relationships with people in the business community. I tell people when I teach classes, please always connect with me on LinkedIn. My network is huge, and the likelihood is that I know or somebody in my network knows somebody at a company that you want to work for. And I am always happy to make a call or to to help shuffle that resume to the top of the pile just by creating some sort of relationship and network with somebody which helps a lot. And you can use that no matter what university you're at. So whatever choice you make, use those relationships that your instructors and professors have, because those are going to become valuable for you to get into those first jobs.
I would like to add that digital marketing at a university is probably